All right, then. Great conversation. He has said a lawyer is always going to be legalistic with his approach. Like he said, he is of the opinion that the youth corps is actually a paramilitary agency. There are lots of Nigerians that don't buy into that. There are lots of lawyers also who don't buy into that. So like I said, Nigerians are always divided amidst opinions. But we're going to take a few reactions coming up from the NYSC core issue. And first of all, because one of the things that Barrister Ibuk has said this morning is that the NYSC will be in its right if they decide to go ahead and punish Rai, because she has faulted on that end of what the guidelines are. But we've argued this morning that there are no such guidelines that are also prohibiting her from speaking. But let's take Dele Faratimi's response to the now garnering, agitations around her viral video.
If you are an example of what's going on in your generation, I'm excited. It tells me it's not been for nothing. It tells me talk is not cheap. It tells me we've got thinking, questioning youth. People who are asking questions, global citizens who are not going to allow for the madness that has pervaded Nigeria like it's normal. And that's why they are panicked. But I assure you, just like Nigerians had my back, we have your back. Nothing will happen to you. Nothing. And there are many more of you, and they need to echo your voice. Because it is in echoing your voice that they would have to call many more. Imagine if they were calling 1,000 Rais, just 1,000 Rais of Rai's age. Let them have to be calling those ones. Just imagine that. One Rai, and they're scared. What did she say? She didn't even abuse the daughters. What did she say? So just imagine that. That is the power that you have when you open your mouth to talk. So let somebody talk to Rai, and there should be more Rais. The other thing that happened in the week that was is Natasha, Akpabio, and us. That was some week in that episode. Natasha apparently remembered that she's a member of the Interparliamentarian, whatever. So there we were in the United Nations. Voice. Because it is in echoing your voice that they would have to call many more. Imagine if they were calling 1,000 Rais, just 1,000 Rais of Rai's age. Let them have to be calling those ones. Just imagine that. One Rai, and they're scared. What did she say? She didn't even abuse the daughters.
Well, that's Dele Faratimi, of course. He's saying he's proud of Rai. Activists will be proud of fellow activists.
A lot of that, activists will be proud of what. But I mean, by what Amnesty International,
yes,
have said, they've urged the federal government to stop threatening individuals and groups who criticize the current administration. Of course, this is as an offshoot of the girl in question and the video she made, which is currently still viral. Now, we've also seen that TUC have called on the federal government of Nigeria to rather focus their attention on dealing with the issues that the girl in the viral video has addressed, contrary to trying to muzzle her or trying to muzzle the generality of Nigeria. See, truth be told, the laws of Nigeria will always be lost. And as a matter of fact, a lot of Nigerians, including legal experts, have turned an old Western. Yeah, this is not the first time we see, like I guess was on the side of, oh, okay, it is within the rights of NYSC to punish her. But there are also legal professionals who believe that this is not right and the NYSC has no power and the girl has not erred in any way. I'll always go back to the same conversation. Criticizing a government is the fundamental right, is the right of every Nigerian. We talk about fundamental right, we talk about freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and one of the things that happened in the NYSC camp was, what did you call that? Truth Vanguard, or there was something Vanguard, that had to deal with addressing issues of violation, corruption, bribery, and other illegalities happening within the Nigerian government. And the duty of core members was to speak against these practices. So if even within the NYSC scheme we have such vanguard, we have such groups, the name skill keeps eluding me. I think it was something called Vanguard that has to do with, the right of Nigerians to speak against every form of illegal activities within government. And the aim was to promote accountability, transparency, good governance, good leadership within government institutions. So if we have these in institutions that we call the NYSC, and we expect core members to speak to these issues, why is it now a crime for a core member who is speaking to what is really happening in Nigeria? This is the reality of things. I'll join the Amnesty International, I'll join TUC, I'll join every activist who is speaking in a different direction. Rather than push all the muzzles of the Nigerian government, all the muzzles of the NYSC leadership in Lagos to try and suppress the young man from speaking, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu rather should focus on dealing with the issues that has been highlighted. She asks critical question, when are we going to wake up in Nigeria and things have returned back to normal or even better than it was before it kick-started, before the uprising of where we are today? That's a very valid question. And that goes back to the concern that the federal government have said every time. There is light at the end of the tunnel. The policies of this administration, the renewed hope agenda, is finally beginning to yield positive results. The question she's asking is, how long will Nigerians have to wait? How long are we going to have to endure? How much more are we going to have to endure before this much talked about light at the end of the tunnel is experienced by the generality of Nigerians? And as much as we know that, Nigerian government as a government, the Nigerian system, the Nigerian government under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a whole lot of responsibility to what is happening. I will not, and we will not be fair with ourselves as Nigerians if we walk away from the selfish and greedy nature of Nigerians as well, because the same egg that is being sold for 6,000 something for a crate, there are places where it is being sold a little bit cheaper. So we are also going to address the greed on the part of Nigerians. As much as the government has its own roles to play and responsibilities, and the failure thereof is empowering the other greedy Nigerians who are not within the corridors of power. So it is a two-sided thing. But Nigerians will tell you, if we had a functional government, if we had functional institutions rather, coming from government, moderating and interfacing with the different groups and interest organizations within the space of the entity called Nigeria, we will not be talking about some of the things that we have. We've talked consistently about the rights of Nigerian consumers. For instance, what is FCCPC doing so far? In the midst of the exploitation, in the midst of the abuses, in the midst of the violations of the rights of Nigerians, when it comes to consumer protection, what has been done on a daily basis? The Nigerian federal government recently just woke up and gave NCC the mandate, or through NCC gave telecom subscribers the mandate to upgrade to 50%. And after the upgrade was made, there was another agreement that was, that was reached, and it was further reduced by, I think, 15% of that. About my memory serves me right. Have we seen that 15% reduction featuring in our airtime, featuring in our data subscription?
Yeah, that's true.
But the government has not said anything. The government has not reacted. The NCC has not spoken. The federal government has not spoken. We are waiting. When the NLC, TUC, and Union now decide, we are going on nationwide lockdown, because since this agreement was reached, we have not seen it. Nigerians are not seeing the difference. That is when government will rise up, and then will begin to hold closed door meeting and begin to throw blame games and throw shades and try to muzzle the NLC, TUC, and Nigerians from speaking up. Why can't we as a government be proactive enough to look into the problems, the concerns of Nigeria, that when we have a policy, when we have an agreement, the government takes proactive measures to address those concerns before you get to a point where people have had enough of waiting. We didn't literally have to wait for 2 weeks before the new tariff was implemented by the telecom.
Definitely.
So why are we waiting for weeks on ending before the new renegotiated tariff is implemented?
Well, whether we are going to solicit for these kinds of rants on the social media or not, or whether we are going to encourage legalistically or not for Nigerians to speak up, like I've said already, it is sad to see that Nigerians are divided in two perfect halves. Some Nigerians are living like they are abroad, and their president is Donald Trump, who is fighting for, or he's fighting to make America rich again at all costs. He doesn't care what he's doing to other countries. He just wants to make sure that the economy of America is better at all costs. That's not your president. Your president is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and you have to look at the realities and ground. It's funny to see how we all come and act like we're living in a different thing, but just to put that particular story to rest, as we have seen, a lot of Nigerians, including Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar, have come out to speak about this. I mean, he has asked that Rai herself not be talked about anything because there's a lot of might behind her, and Nigerians are also appreciative that some of these political elites have put down their foot behind her. It also means that a lot of things would, to a very large extent, nothing would go wrong. That's the expectation of a lot of Nigerians. There are the likes of the obedient movement who have given an open letter also with regards to their backing for her. Amnesty Nigeria has spoken. But the key thing here is that Rai started what is called a 30-day rant challenge. And you want to see how much rants that particular challenge has garnered in the last couple of days, 24 hours and over since that rant challenge started. So you're seeing a lot of Nigerians come up on social media to rant about what their issues are in their state, their jobs, and all of that. So there's a 30-day rant going on. Are you going to be a part of that? Or do you also think that this rant is enough to get the attention of the federal government? Maybe because Barrister Ibook asked a question this morning. We are not saying that Nigerians should speak. We should just know which sect of Nigerians can speak. So maybe if you're a military officer, you're a civil servant, and you know that your guiding rules can't allow you to speak, maybe you should forward that particular rant of yours to another person who is not held by any laws. But a lot of factions have also been called. Mainstream media has been called for being hypocritical to the issues in Nigeria. The judiciary has been called out. What's the name again? National Assembly, Red and Green Chambers. Everybody is sugarcoating the reality of things on ground. But how much further until Nigerians can't take it anymore? Because the cost of living is killing the living. And that's a serious thing that we all need to agree on.